Hey everybody, I'm Crista. I wanted to show you a fun technique on one of our newest shapes. This is MB1579, the Meadow Mug. So you can see here on the bisque shape that it is nicely embossed with, or I guess it's debossed because it actually goes in, with a beautiful design of flowers and greenery. And it's just a really nice, simple design that you can do a lot with. You can really get detailed with it and fill in every little section, or you can do something like what we're going to do in this project is using some stroke and coat to antique it. Now I really like this look of just being kind of monochromatic. It is all different blues and using foundation shears. Foundation shears are nice because they have clear glaze in them, so you just put 3 coats and you're good to go. Really it's 2 or 3 coats and then you're good to go, but they will show up over other colors. So if I have a colorful design on here, I can still put foundation shears on top and that color will show up. It's really cool. Same thing with this look. We're going to be creating an ombre design with foundation shears, which is kind of unusual. You know, we're used to doing that with stroke and coat on top of an antique design. So let's get started. We are going to be using Moody Blue stroke and coat. We also have our foundation shears. We have Blue Diamond, Sheer Blue, and Milk Glass White. Now the milk glass white is what we're going to be putting on the inside, but also we're using it as part of our ombre on the outside. And we're doing that because we don't want to dip this. There's no need to dip a foundations piece. So by using the milk glass white that basically looks like the bisque on the inside, it's just like, it looks like a clear. Then you have your design all done. It's been fired, it's been glazed all over, and you don't have to put any clear glaze on top. Easy, easy. And your customer can do it for you. Okay? So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to get a little bit of Moody Blue here, put it on our palette. And as always, we love a soft fan when we're trying to get some good coverage. So I always wet my brush a little bit, kind of get some of that excess water out. That just makes it ready to accept the paint, kind of like washing your hair. You wet it a little bit, then you put the shampoo on. So I'm going to put this mug over here. And I don't have to paint this stroke and coat all over the whole mug. The goal is to get it onto the designs. So I'm just going to go over the embossed, debossed area. And I need to make sure I get into all these little crevices. So I'm just kind of dabbing it on there. Soft fan is great for everything. Has nice soft bristles so I can get it down, or hairs I guess you would say, down into the little sections. I could do this with a different brush, but this one gives me a lot of glaze in it and it's a nice wide surface. So I want to make sure I have it all in there. I'm just doing 1 coat. And I'm going to let it dry. So while that side's drying, I'm going to do the other side. And one thing I really like about this is this design is different on each side. Very, very similar. Lots of some of the same elements, same flowers and greenery, dandelion, but it's a different layout. They're not exactly the same. So it's nice that it's not a carbon copy of the other side. We do have lots of different samples of our new mugs and tumblers on our website. So you can go there, see them in bisque, and of course also see them glazed like this. Okay, now we're just going to let that sit for a minute. And once that dries, we will wipe it off. Once the shine is off the piece, you are able to go ahead and start wiping it off to get the antique effect. Antique is actually just filling in those recessed areas. That's antiquing it. So you'll see that in a lot of acrylic projects, but we really like to use it in a glaze project as well. So I'm just going to gently wipe it off here. If there's any smearing of this blue in the background, it's really going to be easy to clean off, but I am going to be having some blue, a whole blue background too, so it's going to kind of blend in. I often like to have a really big bin of water here with me because your sponge is going to collect a lot of this glaze and it's easy to get stuck in there. So you want to keep it clean as much as possible. I like to have like a big shoe bin, one of those plastic shoe bins full of water, or some extra bowls of water with some extra sponges just to make it easier. You definitely don't want to send your customers over to the sink because you know what happens. Lots of water on your piece, and that's not what we want. Now, if you are worried about not having this even, getting all this off, you could totally paint the whole thing blue and wipe it off, or you can kind of smear this over to the other side so you have kind of this uniform background. But as long as you don't press too hard, see if I'm pressing really hard here, I can see where I'm taking some of that glaze off. So I really want to go lightly. Definitely like the flat side of the sponge and not the rounded side. It's going to do better because it's going to give you more of a flat surface. If you're using the rounded side, that is definitely going to dig more into those crevices. Now, if I get some of the places a little bit too much taken off, too much cleaned off, I can always go back in and add some more glaze just very gently. And I'm not going to worry too much about getting all of this extra blue off because we're going to be doing a lot more. You see on this piece, we have that blue blended all the way up. So I'm going to go on over to the other side now and start cleaning it off. Very gently. Kind of like this back and forth because it's on the surface as opposed to really pressing hard and digging down in there. Kind of wiping back and forth. Definitely easier to hold it with your hand to do this. And you know, it may take some practice. I haven't done an ombre project, or I'm sorry, an antiquing project that I haven't had to touch something up in a while. So it's kind of as something you just get used to doing. You practice, you can teach your customers. They may press too hard like I have done in the past and actually have done on this project, but you just get better with it with time and with practice. And if it's not perfect, it's okay. It's the whole technique of it. It's an ombre look. It's supposed to be kind of soft and a little bit more organic than just perfect. So it's kind of a distressed look a little bit. The main thing is to get that color in those little crevices. And I really don't mind this look that I'm getting here. I might even just put some of that on the handle to make it kind of blend in with the rest of the mug. Okay, maybe those sides. All right, I think that will work for now. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to be taking our blue diamond, which is FN212. We have our sheer blue, which is FN211, and our milk glass white, which is FN221. I already have them out on some plates here. I'm going to be using this the number 4 soft fan again. It's a little smaller than the number 8 or a number 6. This is an 8, so you can see the difference in size. And that's just going to give me a little bit more control over what I'm doing and how I'm applying the glaze, especially when you're dealing with a handle. That one's great for bigger areas, but this smaller one I think is going to be really great for this. So we're doing an ombre. You may be familiar with that. We're going to start with the darker blue here. You can do ombre dark to light, going bottom to top or top down. We're going to start from the bottom going up. And I'm just going to go around like the bottom third of this. I like holding it on my hand because it helps me kind of move it as I move my brush across. Nice long brush strokes. Doesn't need to be choppy. You can do the handle ombre or you can do it a solid color. Our sample here has it in ombre, so I'm going to try to follow the sample that our wonderful designer Elizabeth has created. Now you can see it's kind of covering it up, but that's the point. But it's still sheer and it's going to see this color is going to show through. So it doesn't look like it here, but it really is. While this is still has this other color in it, and this glaze is still wet, I'm going to the sheer blue and I'm going to blend in the colors. And I'm going to add this one up. If I need to add more of that darker blue, I can, of the blue diamond. I can always add that back in there to blend it up. So I can see I might want to put a little bit more there and just blend them together. And that's what really creates that ombre look. And then I'm going to go to the milk glass white, which is actually kind of a pinky color because that helps you know where you have it. It's tinted that way so you know where you have it. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to start about a third, so I have a third of the color everywhere. So a third of the blue diamond, a third of the sheer blue, and a third of the milk glass white. And they're overlapping over their sections to make it blend together. And don't forget to do under the handle, which I have forgotten to do. And you can do the handle. So this time I think on the handle I'm really going to do a lot of this milk glass white. Kind of like to follow the curve of the handle. I think that looks nice. And sometimes on the back side you have to kind of get that other little angle. All right, we're going to let that dry and we're going to be applying these colors 2 more times. So that's our first coat. Foundation shears have a thinner viscosity than stroke and coat, so they're really great for the background of a piece because it gives you time to it dries quickly. It gives you more time to get to the fun decorating part if you're using it as a foundation or as the base of a project. If you're using it in something like this where you're layering it over and over again, it also dries quickly because of that thinner viscosity. So it allows you to get to your second coat even faster. When the shine has gone off of the color, off of the glaze, then we say it's time to start glazing again. So I'm going to use my blue diamond here on the bottom and just go around again. And it's crazy how it looks like it's filling in all those little crevices, but you're still going to see that wonderful dark moody blue underneath. And I'm coming up a little bit higher this time. My first time around I didn't get up quite high enough, I don't think, on the mug itself. So I want to make sure I do that. While it's still wet and this is still has the other blue in it, you could clean it out, but there's really no need because you're blending anyway, and having that color in there will help them blend. So now I'm going to add this, and I'm overlapping my blue diamond with my sheer blue. And just blending that up, back and forth a little bit, helps get that color in there. And it doesn't have to look just like you did the first time either, because it's all going to blend together. And then last, I'm going to do my milk glass white, blending it with the sheer blue and going all the way up to the top. And I don't want to forget getting around this handle here. There we go. And when I set it here, I can just get this little top edge. So we'll let that dry, and we have one more coat. Okay, I think that's good and dry. We are going to go ahead and do the final coat, starting again with the blue diamond on the bottom. Last coat. The reason we're doing it this way instead of just doing this 3 times, the next color 3 times, and the next color 3 times is because we're trying to blend them together to create an ombre. Even though we're overlapping it and it may not look the same, like I might be not putting the same to the same level every time, the same height on the mug, or letting it a little heavier the second time or whatever, it's okay because it's all blending. But it's better to do it this way to actually make the ombre 3 times than trying to mix the colors together after they've dried or trying to continually layer coats on. Because if you tried to put 3 coats and let it dry, it's really not going to blend with the next color. So you have to have it wet to do that. Therefore, you need to do the same process 3 times. Now, if you get done with this part and you think, man, I really need some more of that blue in the middle, I don't have enough, I got too far down with my white, you can always just go back in there and add some more. Just blend it together. Don't get too crazy and don't worry too much about it though, because that takes the fun out of it, and you don't want your customers to feel like they have to make everything so perfect, or you, whoever's creating this project. All right, now that's done. Now we're going to be doing the inside of the mug. So we're going to be using the milk glass white, as you can see here. And we like that because it looks just like bare bisque, and it's beautiful, it's simple. We actually have used that same white here. That way your customer does all the glazing for you. You do not have to sit there and glaze it, and you don't need to clear glaze it because it's foundations. You can roll glaze the inside. I'm going to actually use the larger soft fan that I have here. You can use the smaller one. I'm going to go with the larger one to do the inside. And I'm just going to go in there and go around. If my mug was totally dry on the outside, which it could, wait for that and I could hold it and just turn it and glaze it. Now I'm just going to be doing my layers of this on the inside with a brush, and using this big soft fan will help me get done a little bit more quickly. I'm just going to go up, make sure I get inside, get a little indentation inside the handle. You can make it swirl. I like just coming up because I think it's easy, it's simple. I do like to go around the inside of the rim like that, just to get that part in there. And now we will wait for that to dry and do 2 more coats of the milk glass white on the inside. Okay, our mug is drying on the inside, so this time I'm going to hold it in my hand to make it a little easier. I'm just going to turn the mug kind of with my brush to get that bottom inside, and then I'm just going to come up, straight up on the inside. And we want to make sure we get that top little rim, make sure it's didn't get missed with all of our other glazing. And we'll let that dry and do one final coat on the outside. Okay, we're going to do our final coat on the inside. Some people may find that they have more control with a smaller fan. I really just like this larger one to really get the color in there. You can turn it like this if that's another option to glaze the inside and just go up and down all the way to the bottom. But I always like to just come up in the end because I feel like I'm getting better coverage that way. I know which parts I'm getting because I can see where I have been. And that is how you create this ombre meadow mug. Thanks.